Today we're designing a sushi bar, but the entire restaurant has to fit inside a 3-meter wide space. Which immediately raises the question how we can create a functional and inviting restaurant within such a limited width. So first, let's take a look at the site. We'll begin with the elevation. As we can see, the surrounding buildings are all approximately 1 floor in height, and the site sits tightly between them. This means we don't have any space on either side of the building, so the design has to work entirely within this narrow slot. Now let's move on to the plan view. The width is 3 meters and the length is around 10 meters. And at the front, we have a pedestrian street with a road. This is important because it means the building will interact directly with people walking by. So the facade will play a crucial role in attracting attention. Before moving further into the design, it's helpful to quickly model the site in 3D. So let's jump into our modeling software and block out the surrounding buildings. This will help us better understand the proportions of the space and how the height of our building will relate to the neighboring structures. Now that the site is modeled, we can analyze a few additional conditions. One of the most important factors is sunlight. Sunrise will hit the front facade while sunset reaches the back of the building, which doesn't really have any significant activity behind it. Because of this, the front facade becomes the most important element of the project. So the design needs to include a couple of gestures that attract pedestrians walking along the street. One strategy is to introduce a small entrance vestibule, where people passing by can immediately sit down and enjoy some sushi. This creates an active edge along the street and makes the space feel welcoming. On the right side, we maintain the main access into the building. Now let's take a look at some of the design strategies. Given the narrow proportions of the site, the most logical approach is to organize the space using a linear layout. This means we arrange the program sequentially along the length of the building. We'll start with the entrance, followed by the main sushi bar or kitchen counter, where customers can watch the chef preparing the dishes. At the back of the building, we place the support spaces, such as storage and a small bathroom. In this type of design, the sushi bar becomes the main focal point of the space. It is both the functional heart of the restaurant and the main attraction for customers, so we place it directly along the main access path. To keep the space visually harmonious, we can introduce repetition and rhythm throughout the interior. These elements can appear in the form of structural frames, panels, and other architectural features commonly found in sushi bars. But beyond these elements, the most important aspect of the design is the spatial atmosphere. Here we draw inspiration from traditional Japanese concepts such as Wabi-Sabi, which celebrates the beauty of simplicity. We also incorporate Ma, which emphasizes the importance of empty space, allowing the interior to breathe rather than feeling overcrowded. And finally, Omotenashi, which focuses on hospitality and the guest experience. In this case, that experience revolves around allowing visitors to observe how the chef prepares the dishes. Now let's go back to the 3D model. First, we define the height of the building. We keep it to a single floor, which helps maintain a cozy and intimate atmosphere, while also respecting the surrounding buildings that do not exceed 1 story. Next, we begin working on the facade. We divide the facade into 2 main sections and introduce a few steps at the entrance, which help subtly emphasize the main axis and create a small hierarchy at the entry. On the left side, we create a vestibule seating area, where pedestrians walking by can immediately sit down and enjoy sushi. This also helps attract new customers from the street. And on the right side, we maintain the main access to the building. Now for the roof, it would be interesting to extend it slightly towards the front. By creating a longer overhang, we can cover the exterior seating area or vestibule. This allows customers sitting outside to be protected from the weather, while also reinforcing the entrance of the sushi bar. In this area, we can also add a couple of stools, allowing pedestrians to quickly stop, sit down, and enjoy some sushi. Now we can move on to defining the program of the space. At this point, we already have a few parameters that guide the layout. The most important one is the longitudinal organization of the building. Because the site is so narrow, we divide the interior into 2 main sides. On the left side, we place the semi-public service area, while on the right side, we organize the public seating areas. Starting from the front, on the left side, we begin with the outdoor sitting area, followed by the main kitchen with a sushi counter, where customers can watch the chef preparing the dishes. Behind that, we place the back kitchen. And finally, the storage room. On the right side, we focus mainly on seating spaces. The first sitting area is located right next to the sushi counter. Further back, we add additional seating and circulation space. And at the end, we place a small bathroom. So overall, the left side concentrates the service and semi-public functions, while the right side contains the main public sitting spaces. Now let's go back into our 3D modeling software and start defining the minimum dimensions for each of these spaces. We begin from the back with the storage room, which can approximately be 1.5 by 1.5 meters. This is enough space to accommodate storage furniture. The height is not too critical at this stage since we are mainly mapping the spatial requirements. Next, we define the kitchen, which will be approximately 3.4 meters in length and again around 1.5 meters in width. After that, we create a kitchen counter area where customers will be able to see the chef preparing the sushi. This space can be around 3.2 meters long and again about 1.5 meters wide. Now for the right side, starting again from the back, we place the bathroom, which can use the same dimensions as the storage room, 1.5 by 1.5 meters. The remaining space then becomes the sitting area and circulation. Once these minimum spatial volumes are defined, we can place them inside our layout. At this point, the next step is simply to introduce walls that separate the spaces, along with openings that represent the doors. Now let's return to our design strategy diagrams. Here we want to highlight the interior elements that reinforce the atmosphere we're aiming for. Remember that the design is inspired by 3 key Japanese concepts: Wabi-Sabi, Ma, and Omotenashi. These principles guide the spatial qualities of the project. For example, Wabi-Sabi emphasizes the beauty of simplicity, encouraging a minimal and calm architectural expression. Ma highlights the importance of empty space, ensuring the interior never feels overcrowded. And Omotenashi focuses on hospitality, allowing guests to enjoy not only the food, but also the experience of watching the chef preparing it. To reinforce these ideas, we introduce architectural elements such as light wood finishes, textured walls, and warm lighting, along with traditional elements like rice paper panels and lamps. This combination of traditional and contemporary materials helps create a space that feels calm, warm, and welcoming. Rice paper panels can be placed strategically throughout the design. For example, they can be used for doors, including the entrance door, the bathroom door, and the storage door. They can also be used as decorative wall elements or as panels above the sushi counter. We can also introduce a small opening in the roof that allows natural light to enter the interior. This skylight could also incorporate a rice paper panel to diffuse the sunlight and create a softer lighting effect. Once these elements are defined, we can begin placing the furniture, including the tables, seating, kitchen equipment, and the storage furniture. After that, we introduce the lighting, maintaining warm tones that reinforce the calm atmosphere of the space. And with that, we arrive at the final plan. The axis along the right side creates a clear linear circulation that guides visitors through the space, connecting the entrance, the sushi counter, the kitchen area, and finally the bathroom at the back. Once the layout is complete, we can apply materials and additional architectural details to the 3D model. This gives us the final exterior facade, where the entrance and vestibule create a welcoming moment towards the street. And if we move inside, we can see how all the elements come together: the rice paper panels, the wood finishes, and the warm Japanese lighting. Together, they create a calm and intimate sushi bar where the chef becomes the central focus of the space, turning the preparation of the food into part of the overall experience. And that's how we designed a sushi bar inside a 3-meter wide space. If you'd like to explore the project further, all the files for this design are available on our Patreon, including the 3D model, plans, renders, and the design documentation with all the diagrams used in the video. We're also starting a new Patreon membership, where we'll be creating concept architecture projects like this one, exploring different spatial challenges and design ideas. If you'd like to support the series and access the files, you can find the link in the description.